I read The Brief History of Time by
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking in my high school. And I was fascinated by physics because that's what Stephen Hawking does, right? He makes it so simple that a young kid can get them.
Mm.
But how come I never found the book for marketing? And I've had a passionate love affair with marketing for the last 21 years, but it took me all the way till the third year of my grad school to discover marketing.
Welcome to the True Fiction Project, a podcast series that explores the origins of fiction. Every week, we begin with an interview, nonfiction, followed by a creative piece, fiction, inspired by something from the interview. The idea is to demonstrate, of course, that fiction is born out of our life experiences. Now, here's your host, storyteller, author, public speaker, health and wellness expert, Reenita Hora.
Welcome back to the True Fiction Project. I am your host, Reenita Hora, and as you know, this is your go-to podcast for all things that relate to the journey of a story from its non-fiction roots to its fictional outcome. Today, we are doing something a little bit different. We have a non-fiction author. This is a very special author, Saurabh Bajaj, who I actually met through JECO. We have a common publisher. Saurabh Bajaj is the Executive Vice President, Prepaid Marketing Head for Vodafone Idea, and he has written a fascinating book called The Practical Marketer. Hi, Saurabh. Welcome to the True Fiction Project.
Thanks, Reenita. Absolutely great to be here.
It is so great to have you on the show, and I know we've been talking about this for a while, ever since we first met. So it's taken many months, but we've finally brought it to fruition. So, Saurabh, as I was mentioning to our audiences, you and I met through JECO, which is a publisher. It's a common publisher for both of us, but more specifically, their sweet spot really is nonfiction books. So I would love to know, given your very strong marketing background and you've had a very interesting career, did you go to JECO? Did JECO find you? How did that even happen?
Great. I think I always felt that I will write a book someday. And I think my book was a gift of the pandemic. Well, the pandemic gave a lot of unfortunate stuff to a lot of people. But I think the moment I got into the pandemic, on the first weekend of the lockdown, is when I put out my first LinkedIn post. And that's where the journey started. Once my draft was ready, however, I actually shot it out to 30 odd publishers. And I had a couple of them, which is quite interesting. I went to the document stage with a couple. But then when I finally found JECO, I felt it was a match made in heaven because they have just the right catalog of books, which I would like my book to belong to. They did a lot of diligence in the editing. I mean, it took me 2 years to write the book and 2 years to edit it. So I actually, given that it was the first book, I wanted somebody who would put probably as much effort in editing and pulling it together as I've spent in probably writing it. So hence I think I was quite happy with JECO being my choice of the publisher.
Amazing, amazing. So what is it about this book that requires that kind of detail in editing? I mean, this is The Practical Marketer.
That's
and
right.
you say that there's a disconnect between the theoretical and the practical aspects of marketing. So tell us about that, and did that compound the editing process?
The fun part was, as I went through the pandemic, I said, like I told you, I wrote a post every week. Yeah. And the first post that I wrote, it happened to be on the first weekend of the lockdown. It got 35,000 views. And I was like, okay, wow, I think I'm onto something. Yeah, the second post got another 15,000. The third one got 25,000. And I was like, okay, I think I have something to share. But I couldn't put a finger on it. That what is it that I'm going to actually write about? And I had a number of thoughts: fiction, non-fiction, marketing, non-marketing, and so on and so forth. But then whenever I would have this intriguing conversation in office, and I would be like, I'm working with such senior people, but why don't they all just get this? Like, why isn't it so easy for just about everybody, including senior management, to figure out the simple rules of how is a celebrity hired? Or why are consumer promotions done? Or how is packaging design actually evaluated? I mean, this is very ABC basic stuff, but not only is it not taught in business school, the rules are not codified. And the way we all operate, everybody sort of starts by reinventing the wheel wherever anything needs to be done. So I thought that why can't I just create this playbook? Because clearly this playbook doesn't exist. And once I put the book down, I actually have a bunch of startups who actually tell me that, you know what, Saurabh, your book is our Bible. We come to work in the morning, we turn the page and say, hey, what do we have to do today?
Because it's a day-by-day guide?
It's actually every decision that you'll ever have to take when you start your own startup. from building your strategy towards, building the right product, to figuring out what kind of research is required. Everything is just broken down as a workshop. Like, hey, pick up this
Mm.
book, just follow it. This is how it is done. Don't need to think too much. There is no theoretical gyan in there. There is no gas. There is no general theory. Everything is a step by step, simplistic guide that maybe even a 10, 12-year-old can just pick it up and say, hey, boss, I think I could do this.
Theoretical gyan for a 10, 12-year-old. Okay, can the need for an MBA program, let's just go straight to your book, right? MBA in marketing, no, not required. But I have to ask, Saurabh, is marketing not the kind of thing that just changes its face every few years? I mean, isn't that why it's difficult to write a rule book for marketing?
I always say, in an ideal world, I would be a researcher in physics.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I say that is because I read The Brief History of Time by
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking in my high school. Now, I read The Brief History of Time and I was fascinated by physics, because that's what Stephen Hawking does, right? He makes it so simple that exotic concepts like quarks, Big Bang, black holes are so simply said that a young kid can get them. But how come I never found the book for marketing? And I've had a passionate love affair with marketing for the last 21 years, but it took me all the way till the third year of my grad school to discover marketing, because that book, which simplifies and makes it accessible, was just not written. So that is what I believe the practical marketeer is for everybody, because a lot of us build our careers in marketing, but we don't really discover what marketing is till very, very way down the line, mostly into our postgraduate degree, not even in our grad schools.
Right.
And hence I felt that this book just had to be written.
Now, Saurabh, I have to ask you, what aspects of marketing do you go into in your book? You talked about packaging design and a few other things, and I'd love to know what kinds of marketing you talk about. B, I am most definitely going to ask you about social media marketing, because that seems to be the rage for any product, any service, anything, anyone. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So the first concept that I talk about in my book is the fact that before you start putting your marketing brains at work, you need to first figure out what your company's strategy is. What's your brand task? Yeah. Now this sounds very simplistic, but what I was very surprised by that it's a simple concept on what's the brand task. It's not really covered in any literature of marketing, which at least I have come across, and I've read a lot of it. Yeah, and I realized this when I was running this brand called Cadbury Celebrations. I was growing really fast. I was growing at around 25% CAGR for about 3 to 4 years, and
What
in the
is
third,
CAGR? Explain.
compounded annual growth rate.
Okay.
So I took on a 150 crore brand, and in 4 years I made it a 300 crore brand. So when I was on that ride, by my third year in the brand, we started running out of factory lines because we were growing so fast. The lines are not available. So my director marketing, Chandramouli Venkatesan, God bless his soul, he was the author of The Catalyst, and he passed away a few years back. He told me, Saurabh, the money that you're spending is not just growing you, it's growing the entire category, right? So when celebration grows, so does Ferrero Rocher grows. Real Juice gift pack grows. Everybody grows, right? How do you ensure that only you grow and other guys don't grow,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
right? And I realized that there are two tasks. There is either grow the category or there is steal share, and you have to do only one of the two. And that choice makes all the difference, right? Because see, the consumers don't really care about our brands. So if you tell a consumer, please buy only Colgate, they don't know what you're talking about. Like they're not even thought it so deeply. So if you're
Right.
Colgate, you just say brush twice. Let's grow the category. Or if you're Pepsodent, you'll say, you know what? I think Colgate is not giving you something which I can give you. That's steal share. So you can either tell people use more or use me instead of the other guy. And that choice is really one of the most fundamental questions which you must answer before you start your marketing journey.
And is that different for different brands or different products or categories, or should it change?
So, for example, One of the things which I found very interesting is the fact that Cadbury's in India has been keeping this one line, "Kuch meetha ho jaye," have something sweet, for the last 30 years,
Mm.
right? And why? Why is that? See, the average Indian still has only half a kilo of chocolate in the full year, while an average European has 15 kilos of chocolate. Now, does that mean Indians are extremely healthy? Not really, because we also eat 15 kilos of traditional sweets, of mithai,
Hmm.
of
Right.
jalebi.
Mm-hmm.
So, all
Especially
Cadbury, yeah, during festivals. So, all Cadbury has done for the last 30 years is to convince Indians that chocolates is nothing but a modern version of the age old mithai.
I see. I'm trying to think from the point of view of a storyteller or an author of books. You need to get people to read books first, or read romance books first, or read suspense books first before you ask them to read your own.
You can probably say that your first book is going to be an Enid Blyton, and I can tell
Mm.
you I can now move you up from Enid Blyton into some real romance.
I see. I see. I get it. I get it. Okay. So social media, we have to come back to that or come forward to that. I don't know. I mean, this is the one thing that everybody says is non-negotiable. This is the only way to market anything, product, service, person in today's day and age is through social media, and that in and of itself just incorporates so many things. Is it you, your own social media? Is it other influencers? Is it like, what is it? How do you do it? Is this something you cover?
Sure, it does. And what is very interesting is the fact that I think one of the biggest strengths of a marketeer is their curiosity. The
Mm-hmm.
curiosity to just play with a new toy, do something new. So
Okay.
way back in 2009, I literally wrote the playbook for how social media marketing is done at Cadbury's. This was a brand that I was running called Cadbury Celebrations, and we were the first guys to put up a Facebook fan page, and we were the top five brands in the country to do that. And I grew my fan page of Cadbury Celebrations from zero to 1 million fans in 6 months' time with almost zero spent.
Could that have been because, in 2009, social media marketing was fairly nascent an exercise? I mean, today it seems extremely complicated with multiple platforms to choose from. Instagram has taken the world by storm, as has TikTok in the US and, outside of India. And it's hard even for anyone, regardless of what they are marketing, to even pick which platform works. What do I focus on? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Is it TikTok, etc.? What are your thoughts?
See, first is why social media. And the reason why social media is because it is just so difficult to reach out to consumers today. See, first of all, none of us watch regular TV. So
Correct.
regular TV advertising is dead, right? Next, you could probably catch us on OTT, but then we all pay the premium and we have ad-free OTT. So if you're not going to see ads on OTT and we don't watch TV, how do you grab the audience? The only way to grab the audience is to turn up when they are searching for you, right? So the whole power equation from the brands has moved to the consumer, where in the past the consumer was just watching the dumb tube, which is TV. Brands had paid for their content, so they had no option but to watch the ads. So now, because I cannot send message to the consumer directly, I have to turn up when the consumer is searching for me. And hence, over the past decade, 50% of marketing dollars have moved to the digital medium. And of the 50%, half, which is about 25% of the total sum, has moved on to just search. There are new forms of turning out and reaching out when the consumer is reaching out to you.
So, what kind of social media presence does one need to have for a brand to even be interested in supporting me?
One of the things, so you're saying what kind of social media presence you need to have for brands to be interested in supporting you? Yeah?
Correct.
Yeah?
Whoever I am, whatever I do.
Sure. So I would say that what this whole piece of AI generated summaries is doing is that they are putting queries in a context.
Mm-hmm.
So these are no longer dumb queries. They're no longer queries of, hey, I want to look at soaps and you have five soaps, right? These queries are becoming more and more nuanced. These queries could be that I have a skin infection. I'm having such and such rash. What am I supposed to do now? Or I want to cook this particular dish, which is going to be as authentic. And now what do I require? as context becomes more and more important in search, the more you take authority on your
Mm-hmm.
domain, the stronger
Mm-hmm.
you are likely to be.
So, Saurabh, I know that you are going to read us or tell us a little story from your book, an anecdote. Before we get into the story, though, let our audiences know where we can find you on your website, social media, LinkedIn, anything you'd like to share.
So on LinkedIn, you can just search me up as Saurabh Bajaj. Yeah, and I would be fairly there. You should be able to find me on LinkedIn. I also have a website called www.thepracticalmarketeer.in. Yeah, that's you get a lot of content with regards to my book. Yeah. I think they're the top two areas. These are the best places to find me. I'm also there on Instagram on the Practical Marketeer, but I think LinkedIn and my website are really the go-tos.
Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us today on the True Fiction Project. I cannot wait to hear your anecdote.
And now to the premise of the True Fiction Project, which of course is to create fiction out of nonfiction.
So this brand that I was running called Cadbury Celebrations had stopped growing. So I would go to consumers and ask them, "Hey, don't you like this box of Cadbury Celebrations? It's perfect for your Diwali gifting or Rakhi. Why aren't you buying anymore? You don't think it's nice? It's not popular?" They're like, "No, no, we like it. So why didn't you buy it the last time?" And the simple answer was, "I just didn't think about it." So I was like, "Hey, how do I solve for that? I mean, as a marketer, how do I solve for I didn't think about it?" So I went back to my boss and I said, "What do we do?" He said, "Sort of, let me set a vision. Can we own the spirit of Diwali? Much like Coke owns the spirit of Christmas in the US." So I met consumers in Bombay and Delhi, the key metros, and these guys were like the life of the society. They would collect money from everybody, bring in a lot of crackers, you have a great time. And I said, "It's great, all these people that come over, do you really know them?" And they're like, "Hey, I mean, we don't really know them. We are very busy in our life. But yeah, the Diwali party should be great." So then I went down to a small town. We went to Bareilly. And we went to the small town of Diwali and we spent the full day with them. We met three generations together, like children, the owners as well as their parents. And then there's this one moment in which the penny dropped. Right? The moment was when the tenant, right, whom I was spending time with, says, "My landlord lives in the house below. And both our children have been going to the same school for the last 7 years. Everybody in school thinks they are brothers." That joy of relationships is what Diwali is about. Diwali is about real connection. And India, in its growth of progress, has forgotten those connections. So we said, can celebrations own this? Can we tell people just during Diwali, let go of everything? Can you just go out there and find somebody and truly make them happy? And is that all you should do? And over the next 4 years, I have won every award that the industry had to offer. And to this day, that campaign was born in 2008. To this day, the same campaign is alive and kicking. It is still relevant because we hit upon a genuine consumer insight.
Amazing, amazing. It's just incredible and so inspirational. Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us today on the True Fiction Project. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was absolutely great being here, Reenita. And for everybody who's logged in, please do pick up your copy of The Practical Marketeer. I'm sure, trust me, you will love the read. I mean, whether you're a marketer or not, I think the stories are just going to completely fascinate you.
Saurabh, I have to ask you a question. Would you be willing to give away a signed copy of your book to one of our viewers or listeners today?
100%. I would love to do
Yes?
that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. If that's a go, then why don't you give our audiences a challenge question so that you can pick the best answer and you can decide who to send it to?
Sure. Great. So, what I would ask the readers or the people logged on to say, you may or may not be a marketer. You could be an author, you could be somebody else, but how do you think my book is going to benefit you? How are you going to pick up the practical marketeer and what are you seeking out of it? How would it help you? I think that is something that I would love to hear.
Okay, True Fiction Project viewers, listeners, whether audio is your jam or you're watching this, that is your challenge question. How is the practical marketer going to benefit you? make the answer good so that Saurabh sends you the book.
Correct.
Saurabh, thank you so much. That is Saurabh Bajaj. He is the author of The Practical Marketer and an EVP at Vodafone. And this is the True Fiction Project. I am your host, Reenita Hora.
Thank you for listening to the True Fiction Project with Reenita Hora. Be sure to subscribe to the newsletter to receive more inspiring stories showing how fiction is born from our everyday experiences. For more information, visit www.truefictionproject.com.